Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello to everyone. Welcome to the today's financial management live session. So we are going to start our session. Students, first of all, we need to determine what is the specific agenda point of today's session. Number one, the first agenda point we will cover here, how to attempt theoretical part for section C. First agenda point, I will start to provide you guidance how to attempt theoretical part for section C. What the specific guideline that I will provide here to you. Number one. Number two, practice questions for agenda point one. The first point. So this is second agenda. Number three, about mid-mock. Yes, I know that one of the mid-mock question, that's our first question that you people have already attempted in the part of the course, that is the ping company. But instead of the discussion about the calculation, we will cover here about the theoretical content of the question one. Question one, theory. The people who have already attempted the mock and submitted to me can compare the answer with the suggested video I have already shared with you. And the students who haven't attempted the question must have to attempt first and then compare the answer. That's the calculation part. And if you have attempted the theory, I will also cover the point here. Number two, we will cover question number 2 of OTQ. To remember all of the today's agenda within the scope of the topic called investment appraisal. Investment appraisal. Investment appraisal. Further, we will discuss with this session that how you must be execute for the rest of the day, that is the remaining 1 month. The first point I will definitely convey to you that first of all, as soon as possible, complete the tutorial videos as soon as possible. Plus, some of the notes I've shared on the portal or the drive, some of the notes also I will share by next 1 or 2 days. So by next 1 month, I will provide you support section wise and exam question wise about the theoretical aspect plus calculation as well, and the section A and B as well. So follow my instruction. So last month's strategy. If you follow my instruction, may Allah, God willing, you will qualify your paper. I can assure you, not guarantee, because as a human being, no one can guarantee something, but I can assure you, based on my past experience. So, students, can you please reply me? Am I audible? Am I viewable to all of you people? And are you getting my point, what I'm saying here? That's good. Students, agenda point number 1. Agenda point number 1. how to attempt theoretical part for section C. Do remember that whatever the guidance I'm providing here, you must have to make a commitment to yourself that I must have to practice with the same guidance suggested by the teacher, either about section C, either about A, B, whatever. Yes, one of the financial management the student face the challenge is about section C theoretical part. So, what is about the guidance about the section C theoretical part? Number one, the first very important thing. Whenever, whenever you are going to attempt theoretical part of the question, the first guidance is that read the requirement very carefully, because you need a clear understanding. You need a clear understanding about examiner requirement and expectation. I must say here, once you cover, once you've done your exam at the exam date, and if I call you or on WhatsApp, I send a message to you that have you attempted the paper? You replied me, yes, sir. Have you completed your exam? You replied, yes, sir. But if I ask you that, have you completed the exam question according to the examiner expectation? So your answer must be yes, sir. If my question is that, have you done your questions according to the examiner requirement and expectation? Your reply must be yes, sir. Are you getting the point what I'm saying? So always first read the requirement very carefully and ask yourself, have I got understanding, or have I got understanding about the expectation of the examiner? Especially, especially whenever you are reading the requirement, examiner very frequently use the term and. So and means before and after end. There, there is now become two requirement. So you need to split. You need to understand that what examiner actually examined before and after end. So that's the first point. Number two, once you read the requirement, read the question content, clear understanding, I must say you must not to hurry to attempt the or start writing or drafting. Very important. Plan before attack. Plan before attack. Plan before attack. The rule for planning. Number one, how much the marks allocated. How much the marks allocated. Because your drafting must be equal to the marks. If something asks examiner 6 marks, you have to write the answer 6 marks. If examiner asks 4 marks, you have to write the answer 4 marks. Sir, how much point for 6 marks? How much for 4 marks? We will discuss this point. So first thing is that always plan your answer, and planning first rule, write the answer according to the marking scheme. Number 2, before drafting or before attacking, identify or imagine. Here I can use the word imagine, or make a raw form in your mind, or the sketch card with the CV format in your mind, or the piece of paper. Identify the key points. Identify the key points means before start writing, you need to identify what I will write. That is called brainstorming. You must talk to yourself. Your brain must have to develop different points. But do remember, your brainstorming must be very much focused. Focus according to requirement plus allocated marks. This is what the rule before starting the theoretical question part. You have 1 month time. You have 1 month time. And believe me, for example, you know very well, for section C, examiner asks for investment appraisal topic plus working capital topic plus business finance topic. Examiner will not ask here anything about risk management, not about financial management function and environment, not about business valuation. So by next 1 month, if you attempt the theoretical question part for investment appraisal, at least 10 to 15 questions for the theoretical, working capital 10 to 15 questions, business finance 10 to 15 questions. With these rules, you will easily qualify your exam. Your issue about the drafting become resolved. And if you have any concern or confusions that either your draft answer is right or wrong, you can share right or wrong, or according to the examiner expectation, according to the marking scheme, you can share with me on the WhatsApp group. I will reply. I will first gauge and reply. Is this according to the marking scheme? Is this according to the examiner expectation? Means up to the mark or not? But here you need honesty. Sir, what is the meaning of honesty here? For example, if I say to you that for investment appraisal, you need to cover my notes, number 1, and read the selected chapters. First of all, you have to read the notes and selected chapters. If I say read my notes of the working capital plus the book reading, you have to do that. If I say read my notes of business finance and my notes, you have to read it. And after that, if you attempt the question, if you are going to attempt the question, for example, you are attempting investment appraisal question, and you have first question you have done with the theory, section C part, and you have checked your answer. Even I will support you, and you have done it, and you are confident. By second question, you are going to attempt second question. For second question, you have read the requirement, but the requirement is blur. Requirement here blur means you are not exactly recall what examiner is saying here. So I must say you have to recall the studies. Recall the studies means go and review that particular topic. After that, attempt that question. Rather than just attempt without any motivation, or you are not confident, or just read the solution. Reading of the solution is only reading of the solution. It's not good enough to handle the theory. Reading is a good habit, because by reading your mind will be able to catch multiple points. Reading is a good thing, but reading is not enough. Reading plus practice of the writing, both are important. That's the point. So students, is this clear? Softly, how to handle the theoretical context. I've already shared the notes of these 3 chapters. I will also update on the folder on the WhatsApp group all 3 chapter notes as well. Plus, I will also highlight which particular chapters from Kaplan you have to read. Is this clear, all of you? Furthermore, I will provide a series of questions for investment appraisal, working capital, business finance, and one by one you have to attempt and working accordingly. Now, first agenda point is covered here. Number 1. That's good. Number 2. Let's take one practice question for agenda point number 1. One practice question. Let's suppose this is a question. This is a question. Topic investment appraisal. Section C theory question. FM exam September December 20. Crockett Company Part C. So number 1. Apply these rules with that particular requirement. With that particular requirement. Student, the very important point here, first of all, read the requirement very carefully. Read the requirement very carefully. For example, you are sitting in the examination hall, you have done the part A and B, that's calculation, for example. Now, part C, you are going to attempt. Number 1, read the requirement. Describe 2 approaches for dealing with inflation and provide reasoned recommendation which approach the company, that's Crockett Company, management should follow. 6 marks. 6 marks. 6 marks. 6 marks. So first of all, read the requirement carefully. Two approaches to dealing with inflation for investment appraisal. So two approaches, that one of the approach named the nominal method and another one the real term method. These are the two approaches. But here the requirement is not only to explain two approaches, but also provide a reasoned recommendation that which approach the company should follow, which approach the company, the management should follow. So there are 3 points to cover here. So first of all, you have read the requirement. Okay. It's very clear. It's investment appraisal topic, NPV methodologies, inflation considering method, that's to approach nominal real, also recommendation to the company. Number two, marks, 6 marks. 6 marks. So I'm going to plan it. 6 marks. And here, for 6 marks, I'm going to work out for brainstorming. Before starting, I'm going to have some brainstorming that what I should write to meet the examiner expectation, number one, and according to the allocated marks. According to the allocated marks. By the way, another important point, including marks, that you must have to aware how much time you have to write this answer. Normally, the students of FM not normally face the challenge about the time management. Normally, they attempted all the paper within 3 hours, but you never know. You have to be very committed about the time. You know very well the golden rule is that total 100 marks and you have total 180 minutes. So that means you have 1.8 minutes for each mark. Multiply by 6 marks question. 6 marks question. So you have almost 11 minutes. 11 minutes. The ACCA examining team recommendation. You can invest 20% time for plan and 80% time for attack. So 20% time for plan. Plan means reading and understanding the requirement carefully and brainstorming. Reading and brainstorming. You can invest here 2 minutes. 2 out of 11, 2 minutes for clear understanding of the reading and the brainstorming. So, for 2 minutes, within 2 minutes, I have read the question, understand the requirement, now brainstorming. I am saying that if whenever a student start drafting something, so drafting something means students are communicating. The student it's now starting, it's going to communicating his or her point to anyone else. Do you agree that if you are drafting some answer, so it means that you are actually communicating or convincing someone That what is about the concept. Do you agree that? Can you please reply me? That's good. Yeah, that's good. Actually, you're communicating someone. So the first rule of the communication is that your starting point, your starting point, that what is about the discussion here. So you must have to make a brainstorm that I will make, I will start drafting with a starting point, a very basic one, a very simple one. For example, you must say that when investment appraisal by NPV method, very simple. The two methods including nominal which require the inflation need to incorporate with future cash flows and discount rate, whereas the real method about ignoring inflation to identify or to calculate NPV. Very simple starting point. Then start, make a heading. The more detail about nominal approach, and then you have to explain completely about the nominal approach. Then about real approach, make heading very clear. Very specifically. So you have to brainstorm your point, the first starting point, then nominal approach, then real approach. But at the time of brainstorming, two things you need to consider here. Number one, with the requirement, not only to explain two approaches, but also make some statement about the recommendation. So recommendation is based on this, having some, mention some drawback of one method, mention some drawback of one method. For example, you have to mention that with nominal approach, the inflation is uncertain because at the final point, you need to make a recommendation. Because here examiner particularly, you have to, your final statement must be mentioned with the term conclusive, very conclusive, your recommendation, your conclusiveness. So your drafting includes mention one drawbacks, either for nominal, either for real approach. So at the end of the statement, the drafting with more beauty, which reflects the recommendation, because you have already mentioned some drawbacks of one method. So this is what about your brain should work according to the requirement. Number one. Number two, I must say here, I must say here, you must have to, if examiner mentions something about the company, so whenever you are drafting your answer, you have to mention the name of the company. For example, you have, if you are writing about the nominal approach, you have to refer the name of the company, Crockett. If the Crockett company management wants to calculate NPV by nominal approach, then inflation need to incorporate specific inflation for future cash flow, and the Crockett company should identify the general inflation rate for discount rate. So use at least 2 times, 2 to 3 times for the company. So it will actually provide a feeler to the examiner that you have connected the concept with the case. Connected the concept with the case. That is called application. That is called application. That is called application. So this is what about the brainstorming point. And then draft your answer. And then draft your answer. Yes, it's time to draft your answer. Draft your answer. Complete answer. If you are practicing the question, I must say, for drafting answer, use CB format. Number one, it's 0% tolerance, no manual working. Use CB format. You must be very much used to about the CB format. Not even the Microsoft Word. No other operating system. Use CB format. Number two, stick with, committed with the time management. Whenever you are attempting the exam question, I must say here, you have to avoid all distraction and focus on the studies, especially when you are attempting exam question. Avoid all distraction. Number one, switch off your mobile, shut down the door, open the system, and open CB format, even blank format. If questions are not available with the CB version, although with F9 almost all questions are available. All questions are available. I will provide the grid as well about the questions with the CB format as well. But if not available with the CB format, use blank CB format, and must be committed with the time management. Don't worry if you are going to attempt first time and you have total 11 minutes, you have invested 2 minutes for planning, start writing for remaining 8 minutes. At the end of the 11 minutes, out of 6 marks, you have only attempted 4 marks. Don't worry. Don't worry. First, you complete your question, relax, check your answer. If you have any gap, overcome that gap, start again. Next question, third question, fourth question, fifth question. Because do remember, growth is not in a very straight line. Growth means sometimes up, sometimes down, up, down, up, down. But overall, if after up and down, after multiple experiences, if you observe your past, you will feel that yes, there I am now become in an improved position. That is the point. So use CB format, time management, focus, stick with the time management and work out. For example, this is what about the answer. This is what about the answer. First, the starting point, start point, and this is not something the only answer. You can use your own wording. When appraising investment, you can use the word when calculating NPV. The treatment of inflation need to consider as it will affect both cash flows and discount rate. Don't mention the required rate of return, just discount rate. Real terms, nominal terms, two approaches to investment appraisal differ in the way that effect of inflation are incorporated into the appraisal of calculations. Then explain nominal approach. With the nominal approach, both cash flows and discount rate incorporate the effect of inflation. The discount rate need to include the general inflation of the investor required return. This means here, use the company name. Crockett Company need to apply a specific inflation to the future cash flows, material costs, other cash flows, ensure cash flows in appraisal in incorporate this. So during brainstorm, we have already identified we need to incorporate some drawbacks for any one approach. Here, for example, the uncertainty in the inflation rate, because uncertainty means maybe these inflation become change. That is the point. With the project, which certainly make an appraisal in nominal terms more difficult to prepare with accuracy and should be considered when reviewing the result. So this is what about the challenge, limitation, drawback of nominal approach. Why we need to incorporate this point? Because examiner here ask you or expect you to make some recommendation, and for recommendation your above answer must have some must need to incorporate some challenges over there. That's the point. Real term approach. A real term approach would exclude the effect of inflation. Therefore, nominal cash flows incorporate the effect of specific inflation rates would be deflated. Deflated means current terms by general inflation in the real terms cash flows. So discount rate deflated with general rate and future cash flows deflated, or in real terms, if the cash flows are nominal terms, that need to deflate and convert into current terms with the specific future cash flows. But once again, you can use other statement as well. Simple statement. Real cash flows not consider any inflations, and these are current terms, not using the word of deflation. And discount rate also not incorporates or you can say exclude the effect of inflation. Final point, final comment. Examiner expect here. Consequently, real discount rate would be used, which represent investor base of return for risk before inflation takes account. That is the final point. The reflection of that this approach don't have any uncertainties. That is the point. So this is the way you have to write the answer. Sir, for 6 marks, how much points we need to cover? I must say, for 6 marks, at least 3 to 4 points need to cover. And we have covered here 3 to 4 points. Starting nominal approach with drawbacks, real approach, and final point. But do remember, it's not about how much to write. It's about what the quality you have portray or you have drafted. Quality means number one, Quality means according to examiner expectation. Means your answer must incorporate two things. Number one, relevant. Relevant means according to examiner expectation. Number two, complete. Means you have covered all complete points. Relevant means whatever examiner asks, you have to write it. You don't need to write what do you know. You have to write what examiner asked to you. Relevant means examiner requirement according to. Complete means whatever examiner examined, all the points you have covered. So quality draft means completeness and relevant. So if someone having a point, sir, how much to write? So the reply is that quality answer. Quality means first read the requirement, understanding the requirement expectation. I must write that's relevant according to requirement and cover all the points appropriate. Completeness, appropriateness. That is the point. Students, I hope that this second agenda point is also covered here. And you people, I hope that you people have really learned about this part of the session. That's agenda number 1 and 2. Can you please reply me? Are you people happy? Is this something valuable for you? Can you please reply me? Okay, that's good. That's good. So that is the first 2 agenda point we have covered till now. Take a short 2 to 3 minutes break, and after that we will cover rest of the agenda point. So thank you very much. Take a short 2-3 minutes break. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.